Wait, no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph, aka Mr. Badbit, and it is here where me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest, and sometimes not so greatest, in all things PlayStation. Of course, you can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube at the Trophy Room Show. If you like what you hear, please consider dropping us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, or if you really like us, you can throw us a buck our way over at patreon.com/pstrophyroom. So, with all that said, and with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever is, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson, how are you, sir?
Feeling pretty great. Yeah. I would like to make a petition right now. Okay. That we leave that long silence for the video version of the show. I don't think of any other episode that deserves that amount of lead time and deep breathing before we start. It was executed perfectly. Even though I know you're doing it for technical reasons.
Yeah.
I think content-wise, it makes a whole lot of sense for what we're about to get into today.
Yeah. It's we're going to be needing a whole lot of deep breathing exercises because this week in PlayStation has been a rough one. Like today, we're going to be talking about the MLB The Show coming to Game Pass, controversy fiasco that has been just riddled this whole week. We're going to be talking about Hideo Kojima possibly partnering with Microsoft. We're going to be talking about PlayStation Now finally hitting Game Pass, but it's a big swing and a miss. We're going to be talking about E3 2020 coming back and PlayStation not there, and then some good news. BioWare breaking down some more Mass Effect Legendary Edition and what it's going to change from Mass Effect 1. But before we get into all of that, Kyle, how you doing this week, man? I missed you on last week's show.
Yeah, I missed you too. If anyone would like to listen to the Lost episode, you can go to the Twitch archive. It's still there. But yeah, had a great time. I'm sorry you had to go through all that technical garbage that was completely not your fault. It just happens. But when you're in need of a dynamite co-host at last minute, you call in Sean Capri.
Yeah. I want to thank Sean.
Hall of Fame a level of a podcaster and a guest, and thank you so much, Sean, for coming on. Mm-hmm. But I'm ready to talk and yell about some MLB The Show. Some good, some bad.
A lot of people yelling about it this past week.
Yeah.
Suddenly, everybody cares about baseball again.
Right?
Suddenly, the Mets are playing and they're still losing, Kyle.
Oh,
but I want to talk about, before we get into all the news, I do want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, this is the glasses show. This is the intellectual show.
For visual watchers on YouTube. Yes. This is actually something I've noticed for, I don't know, maybe the last couple of months while we record. I noticed like halfway through the show, everything gets blurry. And I think it's just because I'm looking at screens all day. My eyes just can't take it anymore. So I picked up some of these Gunner glasses. I am now an official MLG gamer.
Oh my God.
I probably look like the biggest fucking nerd in the room. But you know what?
Where's your G Fuel, dude? You gotta have a G Fuel.
I haven't. Nope, that's not even an empty can of Mountain Dew. It's a Dr. Pepper. It's right here somewhere.
It's somewhere.
You know what? G Fuel, hit us up.
Yeah, G Fuel, listen. I hear you just hand those out to anybody these days. With that said, yeah, we have a banger of a show. We're wearing glasses because our eyes are old and decrepit. And before we get into all of that, I want to talk to you guys about Patreon. I want to thank all our new Patreon producers. I want to thank our platinum producers, Todd Burwitz, and too soon, our gold producers, Chaotic Monkey, Gavin Godfrey, Griffin West, Jose Jimenez, Jedi Master Ren, and Metal Kirby. I want to thank our Silver Plus members, Hide Indoors, Marcus O'Neill, it's just Ray, JB the Purple Monkey, Jadis Vaughn Metal, Tim Ulf, and Justin Rodriguez. Thank you all so much for making this show happen each and every week. We would not be here without you. And like we always say, if we ever got you through a long car ride, a tough day at work, whatever the situation may be, it really does help us out going over to patreon.com/pstrophyroom. Toss a buck our way. Keep this show going. With that, Kyle, listen, this is an episode. So I want everybody to buckle up. We're going for a wild ride because it has not been a good few weeks for PlayStation in terms of them just even talking to the community. And we've been seeing massive moves by Microsoft in the past, not just years of Game Pass, but in the past few weeks, and Sony just seemingly silent. And this news, I think, finally shook us as PlayStation gamers. So take it away, Kyle.
Chandler Wood over at PlayStation Lifestyle writes, Sony says the decision to put MLB The Show 21 on Xbox Game Pass was made by MLB. The PlayStation Studios published and Sony's San Diego studio developed MLB The Show 21 isn't just coming to Xbox platforms, it's also launching as a free title on Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass service, a move that shocked many when it was announced earlier this week. Apparently, the decision to release the game on Xbox Game Pass was made by MLB, not Sony. Speaking with Inverse, a representative for PlayStation said, quote, as part of the goal for this year's game, MLB decided to bring the franchise to more players and baseball fans. This decision provides a unique opportunity to further establish MLB The Show as the premier brand for baseball video games, end quote. The decision to bring MLB The Show to get Xbox was made when Sony renewed the licensing agreements back at the end of 2019. While not explicitly stated, it's widely understood that part of the agreement included a requirement from MLB to bring the formerly PlayStation exclusive game outside of the PlayStation ecosystem to other platforms. Similarly, it appears that the choice to launch MLB The Show 21 on Xbox Game Pass was a strategic move by MLB to get the game into the hands of more players on a platform the game has never been on before.
This broke the internet.
Seems a whole lot of people care about MLB The Show all of a sudden, and I have feelings about it.
So, Kyle, what are your feelings? Because, honest to goodness, this is huge news.
Absolutely.
This has huge implications for PlayStation. This is a PlayStation Studios game being not just published on Xbox. We knew that over a year now, and we were fine with it. But this is now coming day and date into Game Pass. You know, a few months back, Jim Ryan said, we're never going to have like that Game Pass thing. We're not going to have our games day and date in a streaming or whatever service because it's just not sustainable for us. But here's a game, understandably so, published by MLB, not Sony for the multi-plat for Xbox, but it's coming day and date for Xbox. So, Kyle, what are your feelings? Because I haven't heard you on this. Everybody, it's either we want to burn Sony at the stake or it's a laissez-faire, but this does suck if you're a PlayStation fan.
Yeah,
right?
I think when the news came out, I think I tweeted, like, I'm happy about it because a lot of people get to play the best sports game in video games. MLB The Show, something I've been preaching on the show forever. So I was happy about it. And I was like, oh, maybe this means like this is like a win-win for Sony because they probably got a lot of money for this Game Pass thing. And who knows what else, like shooting for the stars, dreaming like, oh, maybe like a ploy to plan for more Bethesda games to come on PlayStation in the future type of thing. But in reality, they didn't really have any say. It was MLB that really not forced their hand, but like talked to Microsoft and it's like, here, put us on Game Pass, day and date, give us the money type of deal. And I'm torn.
Why are you torn?
One, I'm torn because what my initial feelings were, more people get to play it. Awesome.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, what are you doing, Sony? Why are you allowing this? Not in like a fanboy Xbox versus PlayStation thing. Just like, why aren't you treating your own first party lineup with the same kind of like fervor and like fan appreciation for this? Like it does suck that it's not coming to PS Plus in that month.
I mean, you've been a supporter of this game for so long.
Yeah, I'm still buying it full price. I'm still getting my Jackie Robinson. Yeah, that is my thing. I get the steelbook, I get the hat. Yeah. I'm still buying it, and I think it's a little messed up and delusional to think that Sony is going to just start doing this. Big first party titles, day and date, PS Plus, it's happening, or the same month or whatever. They're two completely different ideas. in how to deal with their video game IPs. Like Xbox has their Game Pass service that is not just on their console. It's on your phone. It's on your PC. It's on your consoles. It's everywhere. PlayStation doesn't have that. PlayStation is still on the you need this console to play our games type of situation. Right. So there's two completely mindsets there.
Yeah. And we've been fine with that as PlayStation gamers. I'm fine with that. I love the launch of the PS5. I love Miles Morales. I keep on getting lost in that game. I love Demon's Souls. I love Sackboy Big Adventure. So, like, their launch was fantastic in terms of supporting that console.
Best launch of all time, I would say.
Honest to goodness, it was fantastic. But now we're getting to the couple of months here where Sony's just like, yeah, we're just gonna shut up and let our games do the talking, and there's no games.
That's
we're in this dry lull of waiting for Returnal or waiting for Ratchet or the long wait for Horizon. And we're seeing Microsoft make these huge moves and these huge announcements that just weeks apart have to add up. Even as a PlayStation fan, you're now kind of looking out the window going, holy shit, Microsoft's got Bethesda, they got Game Pass, this MLB The Show deal, they got Outriders. Xbox fans are eating, and we're just looking, and our food's being prepared, right? But we want at least the appetizer. You know what I mean? So it is this, like, yeah, I'm happy for MLB. I'm happy for the show. This is a great game for what you tell me. I'm not a big sports guy. So, like, this is cool and seems like a great get if you're MLB. And it really does, as Xbox, I really have this feeling of this is their, this is how you trade your old games. Right?
Absolutely.
Back in 2013, where Shuhei's handing it to Adam Boyes and the whole DRM fiasco with Xbox and PlayStation totally taking advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Xbox knows that Game Pass is the killer app. It's something that you may not say you want as a PlayStation fan, but deep down you want it. And they know that MLB The Show is a PlayStation studio, so if they can give you the comparison as a PlayStation owner, because you don't need to convince Xbox that Game Pass is great or whatever, that there's value to it. But if you're Xbox, how do you show that to a PlayStation gamer to entice them to at least try an Xbox or at least try a Game Pass? This is how. So I very much think Phil Spencer walked on over to MLB and just went, all right, how much money? How much money do we need to give you to make this happen?
I think you made a couple points there that I want to touch on. One, that is something that we as PlayStation fans need to understand, or like the PlayStation fan base as a whole. Sony and PlayStation are never going to be able to compete with Microsoft on the money front. At least until in 20 years from now, maybe. Right. It's just like Microsoft has a ton of money to throw around to get these deals done. That is just not something that PlayStation and Sony kind of have to do. And the other point and I forgot it. Nope, it's gone.
No, don't worry. While you're thinking of it, like Todd Ockra actually on Twitter, fan and friend of the show, he wrote like, look, Microsoft's $1 trillion company. You have PlayStation or Sony, $140 million company. Nintendo, 86 billion for Nintendo. Microsoft gets to make these huge deals and invest in ways that these companies just can't. And that's something as a PlayStation fan we accept because it is like, look, it's big dick, money moves at the end of the day. I get it. PlayStation can't buy a Bethesda, and to an extent that does sour me a little bit, right? As it doesn't seem to me as a consumer of PlayStation fair that Microsoft gets to make those moves and gatekeep their content that they literally bought, but it's their right to do so. And then it does entice me to go and buy an Xbox. Whereas we as PlayStation gamers, I think we're an easy lay. We just kind of want the equivalent from PlayStation. It's like, okay, we know you can't do a 1-for-1, right? You would need an influx of money. That's literally like, that's Apple money, right? That's like if Apple came over, knocked on Sony's door, we're buying this whole company, then you get to have, big Big Daddy Tim Cook over there tossing you a whole bunch of money to make this Apple Arcade for PlayStation be this whole big thing. You need another big mega giant corporation to come in there. Microsoft knows they have the money to kind of, not to say bully, but to make these big moves.
Yeah.
And PlayStation can't, and it's a horrible look no matter where you slice this pie. It's going to be uneven because you're taking a look at MLB The Show going, yeah, this is the comparison. Now as a PlayStation owner, I get it. Whether I own an Xbox or not, this is a PlayStation title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On an Xbox, on a Series X, a capable machine, if not better, for a better deal.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking around.
I remember what I was going to say. This is the same kind of talk around PlayStation when PS4 first launched. Where there was such a long drought in games after the launch. Like, Infamous Second Son came out way later than I thought we all wanted it to, and what we were hoping. 6 months?
Yeah, I think it was in March.
Yeah,
and the launch was in November.
So around that point. And I think if we had a Returnal, if we had a Ratchet already, I don't think this news would be as big as it is.
Right. Because
we have these big experiences, these other first-party games out in our hands that we're playing. We're not still riding the coattails of a Demon's Souls, of a Miles Morales, of a Sackboy. We have, or these PS5 upgrades to like a God of War and whatnot. We would have these new experiences to keep us satiated, thank you, instead of seeing, again, a IP and a franchise that is one of the best exclusives PlayStation's ever had for a decade plus, and that would be The Show, when it is shown off and tweeted out that it's going to be on Game Pass day and date. That's huge news. That's a major PlayStation Studios IP that is now going to have not just the PlayStation Studios logo on startup, it's going to have the Xbox logo on the startup, which is very weird.
It's going to probably headline Game Pass because you really want to nail that home. And you're totally right. I think in the start of every generation, PS2, PS3, there's always this lull for a good long while, about like 8 months to a year of like content, especially with what we're in right now with the stay at home and such. It's even more barren, right? Games are getting delayed constantly, so much that it's not even making the news here on the show because it's just like, it's happening, like Lego Star Wars delayed, Gotham Knights delayed. So it's even more barren than ever. And the only person that is making noise is Microsoft, which usually isn't the case. Usually it is like both of them are kind of quiet. They have their releases for the first year. Things start ramping up at year 2. Here, this is a different animal. This is a different beast. This is a different competitor. One that's a lot more hungrier, one that has a lot more to prove from last generation to this one.
I think, once again, they've switched. I think from PS2 going to PS3, Xbox was new on town, right? So they had something to prove. Yeah. And it took... it didn't take as long for them to take hold of everyone's, like... When you think video games and consoles, you think 360 and Xbox, because they killed it that generation. Yep. And then when we got to PS4 and Xbox One, Sony took it back. Yep. And now it seems like Xbox is now clawing back and is now sitting on top of making the right decisions. And something that I feared of Sony being arrogant Sony, like, hey, we're in the lead.
Do you think this is it?
I think we're very close. If we don't hear from Sony or have some major news, and I put that in quotes because, like, yes, we got confirmation of PSVR 2 is in the works, and the oh my god, dev kits are going out. Right. Like, that is major news for Sony and PlayStation, but that's not like, look at this cool new game that we're going to get to play on our consoles very soon. So, like,
here's this service that people, it seems like the masses actually give a shit about.
And PS Plus is killing it, but it's not to the same level of Game Pass at all.
So Lethal writes in, and just so you know, I want to thank everybody who wrote in on this subject, because the Discord was aflame today about this. And so we're in the Pony Express. Okay, you can send your mail over to PS Trophy Room on Twitter or the Trophy Room Discord server each and every Wednesday, and we get those questions. We answer them on the show. Lethal writes in with this: Sony is in a tough position here. People who have both an Xbox and PlayStation are going to gravitate more to Xbox with these Game Pass third-party deals. People who only have a PlayStation are probably looking at the other side right now, seeing the moves they're making and wondering what is Sony going to do to answer to it. It just seems like Xbox has been doing a whole lot for its subscribers, and Sony is just staying quiet. It's not to say that they aren't working on something, but is the something they're working on going to be enough to combat the value of both the price and content quality and incremental consistency? That's a whole lot of words right there. That's a lot of $5 words you're tossing around. But yeah, like what is Sony doing? Do you think they're actually propelling PlayStation now to be something more than mediocrity? Like, let's be real here. That's what it is. I'm not here to, like, again, Sony's not tossing me the check to say, oh, PS Now's the greatest thing ever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Is Sony quiet because they're working, or they're quiet because they're being complacent?
I don't know if I have the exact answer to that one, but I do want to clear up some things I've been seeing on Twitter about PS Now.
Please.
All PS4 games on PS Now you can download to your system.
Yes.
That is something you can do. I saw a lot of people on Twitter being like, oh, well, we still have to stream our games on PS Now.
No, it's
not
false.
true. PS4 and some of the PS2 classics on there, I believe you can download.
Yes.
PS3 is where it gets wonky because of the whole cell processor garbage
move.
It
because of that, yeah.
Yes. PS Now, you're right, is not a Game Pass level. It's not.
No. How do we make it?
I think this month is a good start, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but just some simple, what I feel like are simple tweaks of these PS4 games that have PS5 upgrades, make that a thing even on PS Now. I'll save it for that story. I can go in on that one, but I don't know if Sony is like hard at work at that. I think they have a Sony conference thing in June. They're probably working real hard on. I think they're making sure that Returnal is getting all the love that it needs. Same with Ratchet, making sure Guerrilla and Horizon's coming along well. Checking in with Corey and God of War, making sure that hits for my fantasy critic scores. I think they are really focused on their first party IPs, and that's not a bad thing in my eyes. Make sure they're killing it, and I'm going to be a happy customer. But like PS Plus has been killing it. Like if you take PS Plus and line it head to head with Xbox games with golds, it's not even a contest.
It's
PS
not
Plus
even a competition.
Murders them. It's bad.
Each and every month. I don't even know. Like, is Hot Wheels their game with gold? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Downloaded a single game from there. Here's the thing. They need to make an equivalent, and it doesn't. I understand. PlayStation can't be like, okay, every single PlayStation game day and date. I understand that. They don't have the money to bolster that, or money to lose on creating that service. You know what I mean? Like Microsoft has. Look, they gave, Game Pass away for $1 for a year or two, right? They lost money on that just to gain it back, where those subscribers are staying there. Yeah. They're being subscribed monthly, and they're also buying those games DLC microtransactions on top of that.
Once again, they have multiple ways to play their games in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Sony is just PS5, PS4. That's it.
Yeah. Again, we're not the Achievement Hall. We're not changing our name. We're being critical because we enjoy the brand, but we understand it needs to change. And honestly, I've been thinking about Disney Plus a lot. Of like, so how can we have a subscription model that works? And I feel like Disney Plus is a great alternative of like, hey, listen, we understand you guys want our, you want our backwards compatibility stuff. You want our legacy stuff. Here's a subscription service where each and every month we're going to add new retro games to the store for you to go and enjoy. Here's 5 PlayStation 1 classics. Here's 5 PlayStation 2 classics. Here's a PS3 classic every month or every quarter for you to enjoy. And then, throwing in your first party lineup for PlayStation 4 games in there. And you can do it. We see you make great services with PlayStation Plus. You can do this, Sony. Like, PlayStation Plus is legit an amazing value. Yeah. And as a PlayStation 5 owner, I got to play Oddworld, a game I would have never bought. And Kyle, spoiler alert, I'm actually liking it a lot.
Ooh, nice.
So you can make a service that's compelling, not on the same level of, and let's just say, how about you enhance the discounts of your first party titles? You know, have a Black Widow situation. Look, nobody's freaking out that we have to pay $30 for Black Widow when it comes out July 9th. But we're still subscribers of it, right? We're not upset because A, we don't have to go to the theater, and B, we know that MCU's quality. So we don't care. We'll pay it. If the content's so good, we don't necessarily, the consumer doesn't necessarily give two shits, right? They'll be like, this sucks, but whatever. I'm watching Black Widow in my house. So like, if we can have that same level of service for PlayStation, I think that's great. If like I'm paying $40 instead of $70 for Returnal, give me like a 30% off of all PlayStation first party games. Awesome. I'm so in. Like, give us a service that is not an equivalent, but just give me something. you know what I mean?
It's for sure.
I know it seems like I'm asking a lot. I know when we have these conversations, we come off entitled, but it is something to take a look at of this real question. You know, we're seeing a lot of people tonight going, what is Jim Ryan actually doing?
To that last sentence you just said, I don't think it's just us coming off as entitled. And this might be like one of the hottest takes I'll ever say.
Say it.
Also, like, spoiler alert, hot takes are stupid. I hate them. But when it comes to this, like, I feel when I see the conversation on Twitter and on all social media about specifically this PS Now, PS Plus versus Game Pass kind of thing, and why can't all first-party Sony games be day and date on PS Plus, whatever. That, to me, is the biggest form of entitlement I've ever seen. Like, why do you want everything to be free and for the price to stay the same? Why, like, that's not going to be a viable thing. Like Jim Ryan even said, the reason Game Pass works for them is because we just talked about it here. Microsoft has the money to back it. So if they don't have a crazy number of subscribers or not, they can still kind of sort of eat that cost. Yeah. Sony can't take that risk. They need people buying their discs. They need people buying their games in order for them to put that money back into the games, the studios themselves, to continue making these amazing things that they make. So when people are like, I want it day and date, it's not fair, like, this is stupid. That's so entitled. You sound like a bratty little kid that wants candy for breakfast. Yeah. And that bugs me to no end.
And here's the thing. You're totally right. It is entitled for like, of course, I would love to never pay for a game. Or pay $1 a month. That'd be great.
Boy. Let me play everything for free.
Exactly. But I understand that, you know, business is business and people need to make money to whatever. So I get it. Capitalism. But at the same exact time, I think you're right. Look, Microsoft was able to pour billions of dollars into an idea. And when we're talking billions, I mean, look at the Bethesda deal. For just a snapshot of content, it bought that for $7.4 million. That's 2 Star Wars, right? They're in talks for Discord to purchase that for $10 billion to help enhance Game Pass as a service.
Let alone all the other studios that they bought before Bethesda.
Exactly. Sony doesn't have that type of fuck you money rolling around to make that big of a roll of the dice on. So I get it. Just try to make something that's an equivalent. We're not asking you to answer Netflix with Netflix. We're asking, answer Netflix with Hulu. Answer Netflix with Disney Plus. You know, answer it with these other services that you could take the models off of that are similar but different and have their own gives and takes to that. that may not be as expensive or as big of a risk. But I do think silver lining here is PlayStation could take a look at what's going on here with MLB The Show as a valuable lesson, not just in PR, but when we're talking about, look, devs get to see how Game Pass affects the sales, not just the publishers. Mm-hmm. Sony's getting that check as well as the MLB. It's not like MLB was tugging Sony's arm going, you're doing this because I said so.
Yeah.
They literally said, you're doing this because we said so. And Sony's like, okay, we like money, but all right.
Let alone the billions of dollars they'll be making off of microtransactions and
exactly
in-game cards that are gangbusters.
So they get to track all that. Yeah. And they get to say, okay, so it worked for the first month, but it was a sustainable long run, right? They if things go poorly for them, or they could see, oh my God, actually, this model does work really well, and work with something like that, right? They could take this as a lesson, as a homework for whatever they build in the future. I really do hope that's the case.
Yeah.
But am I convinced solely? I don't know yet. I don't know because they haven't spoken to us. Mm-hmm. That said, listen, we went 20 minutes on this topic. We got a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions. And guess what? We're still on the train, all right? We haven't stopped. The brakes, I don't even think they fucking work, Kyle.
Jim Ryan, strike one.
Strike one. Here's strike two.
Let's get to strike two. Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat. Abandoned for PS5 is not a secret Hideo Kojima game. Kojima Productions is making a new game, but it's not Abandoned for PlayStation 5. Earlier today, Sony Interactive Entertainment revealed the trailer for Abandoned, which is a horror project from developer Blue Box Games. But that trailer and the developer's spotty history are just odd enough to cause some people to speculate that Abandoned is secretly the next game from Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima. That is not the case. One of the reasons people believe Abandoned is from Kojima is because it's difficult to find a lot of information about Blue Box Games, but that isn't because it's a shell corporation for Kojima Productions. Instead, Blue Box is simply a small studio that has never released a major console game before. Blue Box's website is dead. It has a game in early access on Steam that it has stopped updating, and it has yet another similar game that it attempted to launch on Steam's now defunct Greenlight program. But the biggest piece of evidence I have that Abandoned is not a Kojima joint is that Kojima is in talks with Microsoft about publishing his next game, according to a source familiar with the matter. And yes, that statue on Phil Spencer's shelf was referencing a potential deal with the legendary developer. I cannot confirm if Xbox closed the deal yet, but my understanding is that Kojima is the focus of a Microsoft plan to leverage Japanese talent.
This also leads into what Jez Corden said, is that Microsoft is tapping a lot of Japanese talent to start working on Xbox exclusives. Again, I know this sounds like we're the achievement hall, where we power your dreams. But this is the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, I assure you. This was breaking as we started the show. I don't have a planned question here, but I'm just going to wing it. With this breaking news, Kojima coming on, seemingly on board with Team Xbox to I'm not assuming they're buying Kojima Productions. I think just Kojima likes being independent.
Yeah.
I think they're publishing it like a Death Stranding situation. Why is this strike two for Jim Ryan, Kyle? Do you think they should have snatched Kojima Productions? Because honest to goodness, when I look at this news, I'm like, okay, like, as much as I love Death Stranding, it was my first Kojima game, weird as all hell, great, one of the best, if not the best soundtrack in the game, and I'll fight you. I don't think it sold well. I think Sony walked away from that deal a little burnt. I think they gave the madman the keys to the car, and they didn't see the return that I think they expected. So I think they kind of walked away, and they're not kind of burnt on that deal. But walking in here, why do you think it's a mistake? Why do you think Kojima working with Xbox is a big hoo-ha-ha over at PlayStation?
Big hoo-ha-ha. I think it's because having Kojima Productions under the PlayStation umbrella, and I'm not just saying buy out Kojima Productions, because I don't think Hideo will ever do that. I think he's learned from the Konami awfulness, that what they did to him, that he enjoys his freedom. But I do think at least having that game be on multi-platform, or just having like a blanket your next 2 games or whatever are for PlayStation only and PC, because Death Stranding came to PC. I think that would have been a wise move, because the Kojima under PlayStation will garner a ton of interest, and a lot of people will come and play his game just because they love him. They love his games. Whether you like Death Stranding or not, it's a Kojima game, and people love Kojima, and they played that regardless. Same thing with Metal Gear Solid. Like, they love those games because, I've heard they're pretty good. I haven't played through them all. But they love Kojima, and they love that he's not afraid to make what he wants to make, and they appreciate his vision. And he is like trying to find a good example of, like, no matter where he goes, people will flock to.
Breaking, Jeff Grubb has confirmed the deal has closed.
Oh, it has closed.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't think this one burns too bad.
That was quick, Jeff Grubb.
Thank God I looked. So yeah, I don't think this deal is the worst thing in the world, but I do think his name carries weight with gamers, right? You and me, people that are in the know, people that are fans of his work, people that know, the Konami ordeal, people that follow the game industry know of Kojima. And I think that's what really carries weight and resonance, that, look, in the beginning, Kojima wanted to do something really weird, and PlayStation was the one that hopped on it. Just like with, Jade Raymond, how Sony's like, hey, we are funding this PlayStation exclusive from Haven Studios. This is kind of the same exact thing from a seemingly bigger deal, because Kojima's just such a, we could trademark his name at this point, right? I think that has resonance with gamers, and I think that's why it's such a big deal. But I don't know necessarily if that means that this game is going to be the blockbuster that Microsoft wants, just because I don't think it was the blockbuster Sony wanted in terms of Death Stranding. But another question here, Kyle. Does this mean we get Death Stranding on an Xbox? Does the hits to the stomach keep coming, Kyle?
I'm still looking for the confirmation, because I can't find it.
Oh, it was in a DM of mine. Don't worry. It's real.
Look at you with inside sources. Look at you.
Where's my glasses? Put them back on. Yeah, my inside source, but a bird on my shoulder told me. So yeah, it was off Reddit, by the way. No inside source. Come on. But yeah,
you're the one that said DM.
It was in the DM, but it was from Reddit. Listen, we're losing track here, Kyle. We're getting back here. Do you think we're going to get a Death Stranding on an Xbox? If so, does that mean that Horizon references and Conan are now part
that's right.
of the Xbox suite? And I think even Shuhei was in Death Stranding as well. Right?
I don't know if he was, actually.
Okay.
The Trojan horse infiltrating Xbox is getting bigger if that happens. I don't know if that means Death Stranding's coming to Xbox.
Okay.
I think whatever this deal covers will be for his next game.
Yeah.
But I do, again, we're in the trophy room, PlayStation, where greatness awaits and all that jazz.
I swear to God, listen to the last episode. We were way more positive.
Good on Xbox for realizing that they need more Japanese developed games on their thing, on their ecosystem, because it's like nothing. I can laugh at the amount of RPGs that are on the Xbox platform. JRPGs, yeah. There's like barely any, and that's going all the way back from like 360 Xbox One days. Like there's like nothing. Not saying
and now there's even murmurs and rumblings that Final Fantasy VII Remake will be coming to Game Pass.
Well.
Which, we could assume that.
Kind of figured that.
PlayStation Plus,
yeah. But and that's not to say Japanese developers only do JRPGs, but like I think those voices are certainly missing from Xbox's side of things. So this deal does make a lot of sense. But I hope it's not the last time we see Kojima under the PlayStation brand. I don't think it is. I think he will be back in the future. I think he might even be making 2 games at once. I don't know, probably not. But I can dream. I want more Death Stranding because I love that game. But yeah,
even thinking about this is a news story PlayStation put out on the blog of this game Abandoned, of like these screenshots or like this little trailer of this really weird survival horror game that's in the works coming out later this year, and it's still like a rake step. Because they're like, here's news that'll kind of maybe bury things. This is a new game that's coming out later the year. Mm-hmm. And then people are like, Kojima? And then you have the bigger story of Jeff Grubb going, no, this game that PlayStation announced today is not Kojima making an Xbox game. It's like, still you get the rake hit in the face. Yeah. You know? It's not a good week for PlayStation. It's a rough one, but here's the final bit of, we're getting there news.
Yeah, strike 2.5.
2.5.
It's a nice little foul ball to stay alive. Adam Vajestica over at Tech Radar. PS Now finally hits back at Xbox Game Pass, but swings and misses. Wow, a lot of baseball references going on. That wasn't even mine. That's the title of the article.
I think that was SEO on a website's behalf. I get it.
Sony has added 2 noteworthy titles to PS Now that should have made its subscription service a lot more appealing to newcomers, existing subscribers alike, and more importantly, PS5 owners. However, that's sadly not the case. PS Now subscribers can now download Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3, as well as The Long Dark. Both Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3 received free next-gen upgrades for PlayStation 5, but frustratingly, these versions aren't available. PS Now still only gives subscribers access to PS4, PS3, and PS2 games, and Sony has since clarified to IGN that only the PS4 versions of Marvel's Avengers and Borderlands 3 are available.
Oh, boy.
I'm so confused. Because this is the thing where, like, if you download these games, right? Yes. You're able to download them because they're PS4 games from PS Now onto your system. Mm-hmm. How does that not allow you to get the upgrade to get the full experience?
Let me take off the glasses now. Why did we have a Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation Plus that can't be upgraded to the PlayStation 5 version?
Good point.
Right?
Good point.
So this is more, again, what's supposed to be a good news for a PlayStation story ends up going, okay, there's faults with PlayStation Now.
It's still pretty cool, though. Compatible.
How
two pretty good big games.
Yeah, Borderlands 3.
And Marvel's Avengers that are on PS Now. Mm-hmm. Borderlands 3 is one of my favorites. I love that game. That's a great get. You should play that game. Marvel's Avengers, not everyone's cup of tea. It's not what we wanted from an Avengers game. I personally thought it was pretty cool, but I totally understand why people didn't like it. But still, those are big gets for PS Now, where the last couple months have been like PlayStation stuff that have either already been on there or are part of the PS Plus collection. So like it's
kind of like, remember when we made fun of Games of Gold?
Yes.
This is our Games of Gold. Yeah. It's like we have 3 games every month, but nobody really cares. And then it gets just dwarfed by the better service, let's be honest. Game Pass, which is just like, here's 9 games that's coming out this month, and they're legit new titles like Outriders and MLB The Show that kind of just dwarfs all that again. It also underlines PlayStation's convoluted backwards compatibility, what works, what gets upgraded, what doesn't. And PlayStation reiterated that this is a PlayStation 4 service. So yes, they do hint when they had that clarification that there is a PlayStation 5 service happen in the works, one would assume, if you had to be that pinpoint about it. So it does give me hope that maybe we're going to get an announcement sooner rather than later, but I really hope that this PS5 service is a PlayStation service, that when we upgrade to the PlayStation 6 and how many long amount of years that takes, that this carries forward and we don't have to deal with these stupid backwards compatibility issues that we run into as gamers. So this is a foul ball, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world at all. I really think that there's a chance for PS Now to evolve into something better, and I think that this is the first sign of that. That said, Famous Seamus writes in, do you think also, let's Famous Seamus. Almost missed that. I've ever met in my whole entire life. Do you think Avengers being on PlayStation Now can improve the numbers for the game? Because
Absolutely.
we saw the DLC, it kind of came and went. It's back to pre-patch numbers.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I get that, but I think if you look at how Outriders did, because it's on Game Pass day and date, I think a lot of people who were intrigued by it will hop in and download it and play it, and if they like it, then they'll upgrade it to the PS5 version. I do think that is a thing that can happen with this game. Yeah. I think a lot of people saw or heard about like more of the misses than the hits with Avengers.
Sure.
And I think they waited for either a super sale or an opportunity like this to try it out before buying. And I think this is a great get for that, because that game deserves this kind of treatment where people get their hands on it and see if they like it first before diving fully in.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest, I think it may improve their numbers for a little bit, just for people that pique the curiosity, but I don't think there's any saving to this game. I kind of think its moment came and went, and I don't think there's a redemption for it. I don't think it starts with PlayStation Now either. And it goes into Hide and Door's question as well. They write in, do you think that Avengers coming to PlayStation Now will be more beneficial move for PlayStation, increase the attach rate for the service, or for the publisher, game sales for people wanting to play it after it leaves the service?
It leaves in July, by the way.
It leaves in July. I do like that PlayStation tells you when these games leave.
Mm-hmm. Borderlands leaves in September.
Yeah. I think this is more beneficial to the service to get more eyes on it rather than game sales, but let's hope it does both, honestly.
Yeah, I would actually lean a little bit more towards people wanting to pay for it after it leaves, because that does... July, you're getting closer to the Black Panther major DLC. Right. And so if you're enjoying your time with all that stuff, and then a major hero with a new biome and all this cool stuff that they're adding to it is coming, I think that will lead more people to fully buy it to play that one. And hopefully at that time, more people have PS5s and play the PS5 version, because it's actually pretty damn cool.
All right. Kyle, it's time to get your pitchfork out. Do you have a torch handy?
No, I'm
just
light
something on fire when we're done here. Just light something.
I got scissors.
All right, fine. That works. Nathan writes in, I never wanted to say this. Say this to anyone or how anybody should be fired. But I think Sony leadership needs to change at the top. How do us as the average consumer get the message through to Sony? Let's face it, PS5s will continue to sell for the next year or two. Sales won't be that method. Do we need a hashtag fire Jim Ryan, hashtag trending? I mean, I hate to be negative. I really do. I don't know if we need a, Snyder Cut hashtag to get the point across, but Nate does make a good observation here. It's if the sales change. I think, if PlayStation 5s keep selling, if games continue to sell well there, and look, we know first party games are going to sell well there, right? But we're talking like third party indie games start moving away from PlayStation. I think that's when Sony will actually understand. I think they know they're behind right now. I think they absolutely know they're behind the services game. I think, we've seen, and I think we talked about it a little bit a few weeks back, where we're seeing people move into a services like division in PlayStation, right? Leadership roles change into a subscription based like division. So we know things are happening there. Mm-hmm. We just don't know when those things are going to take place. But you're right. I don't know if things will change. Maybe do need a Snyder Cut. Release the actual PlayStation Now hashtag. But I don't think we need a fire Jim Ryan hashtag going, because I just think Jim Ryan has a different view of how to run PlayStation, and
I don't think it's worthy enough to be fired. I don't think he's bad at his job. I just think he's really. I'm thinking about it, and even if I say it, it's gonna like contradict itself. But like he knows that PlayStation is this thing, and he knows Microsoft is this thing. So why not keep making PlayStation be the best at what it does, and really, and like people buy but it's selling out like crazy anyway. So like focus on that. I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. It's not like these games are not going to be able to be played and purchased on your PlayStation. You'll still be able to play them, but yeah, you'll just shell out a little bit more money than you probably should. It kind of goes towards like my whole Untitled thing earlier. I think things are okay. Yes, they're a little frustrating, and I totally understand that, but I don't think it's worthy getting Jim Ryan out over this yet.
It's kind of like the Pedro Pascal meme of like, life is good, but it can be better.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that.
And I think there is, like, what you were saying before, there is somewhere, like, once the games start coming out, the Returnals, the Ratchets, the Horizons, the conversation starts changing for PlayStation. But when we get these asinine moves of like, let's just take out the PlayStation 3 store, let's give people 5 months. You know, when we get these, you know, this is how you transfer your save data from PS4 to PS5 for Marvel's Avengers, and it's like doing arithmetic. You get these stories, and you get these negative aspects. And look, if I'm PlayStation, I'm looking at like GameSpot, Kotaku right now, both running negative stories on you. You don't like seeing it, but it's truthful. Like people are like, I was a PlayStation guy, but this Game Pass is compelling me to go be an ex-bro, you know? And that you're definitely seeing that. And I think this is, we're on the precipice of talking about earlier, getting to that arrogant Sony that we're all fearful of. But I think this is a different bad, which is a complacent Sony. I don't think Jim is the wartime CEO that I feel like he needs to be. But, you know, talking about Jeff Grubb earlier, watching his show, the Game Mess show, he talked about it. He's like, I think people are grossly underestimating Jim Ryan. And look, Jeff knows more than us. So hopefully maybe he does have that insider knowledge that says maybe that there is something coming sooner rather than later. But look, PlayStation needs to start talking and making moves like, you know, these half steps like PlayStation Now getting some really good games. I don't know. I don't think that's enough. I think we do need to see something. That said, Kyle, we got two stories.
A lot of blog posts too.
A lot of blog posts.
Like a little bit too much. I don't think a lot of people read the blog.
No, I got ADHD. I got things to do.
Give me visuals. Pretty things to look at.
Speaking of visuals and pretty things to look at, E3's got some news for us, Kyle. Some confirmations even.
Robert Ramsey over at Push Square writes, E3 2021 confirmed for June, Sony nowhere to be seen. E3 2021 will go ahead as an online-only event. Organizer, the ESA, has confirmed. The digital show will stretch across 3 days, beginning on the 12th of June and ending on the 15th of June. And contrary to some recent rumors, E3 2021 won't be locked behind any kind of paywall. The ESA stresses that it will be free for everyone. The following publishers will be present during E3 2021 in some capacity: Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, and Koch Media. I believe that's Koch Media. It's not the other one, Kyle. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Sony isn't on the list. It's obviously still subject to change, but we're not betting on the Japanese giants' cooperation. Let's not forget that Sony made a point of stepping away from E3 back in 2019 as the company decided that it would be hosting its own events instead. Sony was set to repeat this process in 2020, but the coronavirus pandemic put a stop to E3 last year anyway.
Now, God damn it, this is the achievement hall this week, I swear to God. Xbox did come out and Phil Spencer said this, something along the lines of, yeah, we can't wait to be at E3 this summer with our other partners later down in the few months, like paraphrasing there. So alluding that this show maybe a medium to small event where we're going to see some other surprises, maybe the big surprises somewhere in August or July with the Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. I just want to put this in here as verification that, last week we talked about it. E3 was, thinking about charging people. No, it's a totally free event for folks to look at. And I don't know about you, Kyle, but I'm setting my expectations to what Phil Spencer said. When he's just like, yeah, we're going to be working with them and our other partners, it kind of gave me the illusion of like, this E3 going to be a lot smaller than we were thinking. And I don't blame Sony for backing out of this one bit.
And it is to note that the list of the publishers here doesn't mean that every single one's going to have their own show.
Yeah.
It just means they're going to be present at the digital E3, so they'll probably have a way to play their games digitally, the demos somehow.
I think the biggest shocker
Konami is you highlighted it just as I was about to say it. Like, what is Konami doing here? What
do they got for us?
Metal Gear Survive 2? Are they bringing that back?
The game of the year, Metal Gear Survive? Are you kidding me? Oh my god! I definitely think this is Silent Hills.
Yeah,
pregnant pause for a reason. Yeah, I think this is one of those little Sony things that we'll get but not get. Like tangentially via Konami. That's what I'm thinking.
Warner Brothers Games is an interesting one too, because we know everything they're making has been delayed.
Womp womp. Yeah. I think we're just going to see more of it. See more Gotham Knights, see hopefully Suicide Squad, and like maybe they're just like, hey, listen, we saw Outriders and we're going to do that instead of
Telltale 2, right? Isn't that
Games of Service.
Not Telltale. Traveler's Tale, the Lego games. Isn't that WB? Yeah, so maybe the Star Wars thing there as well.
Oh, God, I hope.
I can't.
That getting delayed really bummed me out. Mm-hmm. That's the first ever Lego game I was like, I'm legitimately excited for. Take-Two as well, I don't think they're having a conference. I think a lot of these, like your Take-Twos, your Koch Media, they're going to be virtual booths on the stage, and like Capcom.
We know Ubi has their Ubi Forward.
Yeah.
We know Nintendo has been not there forever.
It's like with these companies, your Nintendos, your Xboxes, your Ubisofts, your PlayStations, they don't need this event, but I just think they need to be scheduled alongside each other so people don't get burnt out on these digital events, which happened last year. Like, we stopped caring after a bit. People stopped covering it because it's like, oh my God, another one of these? Like, is there actual news I give a shit about? So I think that's why E3 or like the Summer Game Fest for Jeff Keighley matter here, is just to get people to get that PR slot so that you get that barrage of news. Because I feel like the barrage of news is better than the drip feed that we got last year.
So when do we see a Sony thing? Before June 12th or after June 15th?
Oh, good question. Part of me wants to think absolutely they need to do something before.
June 12th is a Saturday.
And
15th is Tuesday.
I think they'll have something to satiate our hunger for PlayStation first party stuff in the soon months to come. Like, I would like to say maybe in May. And then after that event, you can have your Sony event. Or trickle it out. Like, I think Sony last time, I think 2 years ago, did a couple of little events before E3 and then a video feed after it, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe my memory's all crazy.
I can't remember.
Yeah. And I think they'll probably do something like that. What do you think?
I'm putting my money on June 10th, Thursday.
Okay. Shake on it. Virtual shake.
Wait, are you to my left or to my right?
To your left. Oh, sorry. Right. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, now we're shaking hands virtually.
I think if you go June 10th and you do like the big Sony E3 like conference or presentation, you then have 2 days before E3 to kind of own that video game news space. And then going into it, if Konami is here and they have Silent Hills and that is a PlayStation game, you'll learn more about it at the E3 thing.
Yeah. I think if you're Sony, I think you definitely want to be after Xbox. And if you're Sony, you definitely want a more direct state of play somewhere in, late May or middle May, just to have something to kind of reassure people that they're here and they're talking to us.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need right now. Some reassurance. But yeah, that said, Kyle.
Talk about reassurance. BioWare is doing it for me.
Yeah?
I feel very reassured.
Talk about that reassurance.
Matt Wales over at Eurogamer. BioWare offers detailed breakdown of Mass Effect Legendary's Edition's extensive changes. The Legendary Edition, if you're unfamiliar, bundles all 3 games in single-player DLC from the original Mass Effect trilogy and gives the whole thing a modern-day sheen with support for 4K and HDR and 60 FPS on PC and PS4 Pro, PS5. A new post on the BioWare website breaks these down still further, giving fans a comprehensive list of everything due on launch day. Combat in Mass Effect 1, which was originally intended to mimic the, quote, randomness of a dice roll and pen and paper stat building, end quote, will, for instance, be significantly tweaked in Mass Effect 1 to increase accuracy and reduce frustration. BioWare also promises specific changes to encounters, enemies, and how players engage in combat in Mass Effect 1, all intended to bring the experience more in line with its sequel. Arguably the most notable improvement to ME1, however, comes in the form of changes to the infamously wonky M35 MAKO, frequently seen bouncing its way uncontrollably across planets in the original game. The Legendary Edition brings overhauled handling that promises a, quote, much smoother ride while still being lovable like before, end quote. Plus faster shield recharging, new thrusters to help on awkward terrain, improved camera controls, and more.
Kyle?
Yes?
This is the news I want. After all the medicine, we get the candy now.
Yeah.
This is the reassurance, because the MAKO driving in Mass Effect 1, since you're a fake fan, I'll fill you in. Awful. It's awful, and don't give me the glasses down thing. It was awful, and it was rage inducing, so much so that I gave up Mass Effect 1 midway through because I could not deal with the MAKO. And the one thing that they know is there's like a planet that's full of lava, and it's like maneuvering in that terrain was so awful that you just dip your little wheel toe in that lava, you're done. This time, no. You make a mistake, you have time. You have time to get out of Mustafar. So that's great. That said, I love everything that they're saying here. Because Mass Effect 1, and I'm looking at our good friend Ains from Season Gaming, my co-host on the Co-op Cast, which you all should check out. Mass Effect 1's story is fantastic. I never got to beat it, though, or finish it, see it through fruition, because the gameplay and that goddamn MAKO drove me away from it, literally and metaphorically. So I'm happy to see that they're saying we're going to have a more streamlined experience, one that is not, one-to-one with Mass Effect 2, but closer to it. I like that. I like it a lot. Also, they're streamlining trophies together as well. So like 250 kills, I think, was one of them. You can achieve that via all the way from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3.
Yes!
So, yeah, they're going to have streamlined trophies. I wonder if this trophy list, how many trophies are going to be?
Yeah.
Because
probably
70 games.
70 plus.
Jesus Christ.
I think Mass Effect 2 had close to 60.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are we going to break 100?
You got the Paragon and Renegade options too.
Yeah. So you're thinking Paragon, like, you got the good or bad options for Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. So that's 6 trophies right there. Right? And then you're thinking your miscellaneous ones. Pray to God there's no collectibles. The suicide mission, all that. So, to me, I'm just thinking...
ME2 had 59.
Jesus. I'm thinking with this game, Kyle...
ME3 had 69. But they were probably... I think there were multiplayer ones in that one.
Right. Oh, so, okay, they'll take out that multiplayer, which was good multiplayer, by the way. Yeah, cool news. This is awesome. That's the palate cleanser you need. I'm just thinking, dude, May, we're going to have... And I know I'm going to miss out. We're going to have Resident Evil 8, right? We're going to have Big Lady Step on my chest. I cannot fucking wait. We're going to have Deathloop.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to have Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
All the games.
All the games.
Are coming out. It seems like in May. And this one is like, we're giving you 3 in 1.
Yeah.
God bless.
With Returnal still fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
Because that's end of April.
Like, we're good. Like, I feel like May comes out, we're fine. I am satiated.
I'm very excited about these Mass Effect 1 improvements. Because, yes, I have never beaten the game. I know, fake fan over here. Blah, blah, blah. Bull gatekeeping crap.
And the gate's closed, Kyle. Maybe you get to join us. We have a swimming pool. It's in-ground swimming, Kyle.
I could care less about your in-ground swimming pool.
Splash, 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 Kyle. Weather's getting hot out there. Splash, splash.
But if they're making ME1 as close to ME2 and 3, I'm going to be happy because those are great. I love what they did with I watched the video, I think it was an IGN breakdown of, there was this infamous, I think, the hub world in 1 where they purposely put it in walls and made you go around them because the game was still loading. The environment was still loading behind it. But because of the power of the new consoles, they just took that wall out. So it's way less cumbersome of going down the stairs and around to get to where you're going. You can just go straight on through because the wall's gone. Like, I wonder
how fast the elevators are going to be.
Oh, they showed it off that
really?
Because, again, never played 1, but apparently those elevator rides are very, very long and unskippable. Yeah. Now they give you the option to skip it.
Beautiful.
And I think the load times went from 14 seconds on the Legendary Edition to, I think, 52 in the original. So that's a big improvement.
That's a huge improvement. Yeah. That's freaking awesome because I have been playing some backwards compatible games, Kyle.
Ooh.
On my PlayStation 5. It's not impossible. And the thing that I experience a lot now because they're on my SSD is like there's no loading. So like Tomb Raider, like bam, I'm there in less than 5 seconds. Like, RE4, it's instant. I'm playing Star Wars Republic Commando, which still holds up, by the way. Not that great, but it's still holding up by duct tape, by God. It's like you don't even have time to load. It's just like it's instant. It's hilarious to see. So it's awesome to see that. Yeah, those improvements are going to come with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This is such a day one purchase, and we will be doing that podcast in the Mass Effect helmets. I swear to God, that's going to be the case.
Are you getting me a helmet?
Oh fuck yes, I am.
Yes. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, I'm getting that helmet. Are you kidding me? I don't know how I'm going to fit my big, dumb, fat...
Oh, no, I meant, are you getting me a helmet?
Oh, motherfucker, are you rich?
Damn it! I take back the happy birthday to me, then.
Oh, wait, it's your birthday?
Yeah, man, May 11th.
Oh, shit. We'll think about it.
All right.
We'll talk about if you're a good boy this year.
What if you just find me a not real N7 helmet, a really like homemade,
Chinese
obviously
knockoff?
not officially licensed, and you get me that one, and I'll wear it to compare.
Deal. Be like, Joe, it doesn't fit. I'm like, just put some olive oil on it, make it.
Why does it say flammable? What?
Kyle, listen, this has been a terrific show. I think we got real with our audience. I think we share a lot of the same frustrations with our audience. And it's awesome to see, as a PlayStation podcast, I see some others out there that it's just, it's like we're doing the PR for them. And that's never what I want out of this show. And I love that we can be critical of the thing that we enjoy, because what we enjoy the most is games. So I'm all up for that. I'm digging what we delivered this week, and I hope y'all do as well. Please consider dropping us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really does help. It really does give me that boost of confidence each and every week when I look at there's a new review. It really does mean a lot. That said, Kyle, before we go, I got a question for you. What you been playing? Because I heard you got this code for Disco Elysium.
Yes, Disco Elysium, the final cut, code provided to us from Studio Zaum, ZA/UM. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but
hopefully.
Thank you, team, for the code. Played it on stream with you. It is a Very much a tabletop RPG kind of experience where you are rolling dice for success and failures for everything you do. You don't have to press buttons. It just happens when you pick a certain choice. The story is you might be a detective, but you wake up and not knowing who you are or remember anything. You have all the different parts of your personality in your brain, your psyche, your knowledge, your intuition, your wit, your physical part of your brain that controls all your motor stuff, yelling at you, and all have their own little personalities. It's pretty awesome. And I did only play the 2 hours. I just haven't been in like a game playing mood.
That's fine.
But from what I played, it is so geniusly written. It is such a well-written game, and I think what the Final Cut brings that the original one did not is the voice acting, and the voice acting is top-notch. Yeah. It's incredible. I can't imagine playing this game without voice acting. It's so damn good, and I was not expecting for it to be as funny as it is. I was laughing my ass off playing this game with you just because of the little things that your brain is talking to you, or like you're talking to your necktie and having a full-blown conversation about these existential things and yelling at these people who clearly know what's happening, and you are still trying to figure out who you are, what you are, where you are, and you can kind of really lean into the bumbling idiot kind of role play.
Yeah.
And I had a great time.
Yeah.
Like the cafeteria owner, which is really, he's just a bartender. Let's be real, dude. Like yelling at me about, you're a cop. You should know what to do. And you can respond with, I'm a cop. You're arrested. Come here. Let me put handcuffs on you. Just be very surface level and jokey and just kind of like playing up a role. What you think you would have to say in that situation, because you still are trying to figure things out. I really can't speak more on anything but the writing. Like the writing is perfect. Yeah. Art style is gorgeous. Like this watercolor kind of art style. It's great. Yeah. It's awesome. I cannot wait to keep going because I want to know who I am. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Like, even as a backseat gamer, like, watching you play, we were having fun of, like, building this character that is you. And the brilliant thing about it is, like, yeah, this could be any, like, detective drama noir setting, but, like, this is, like, this dystopian type of, you know, dirty, grimy civilization that we're in, that we have no idea who we are. And we're kind of picking up the pieces as we go, and people are looking at us like, what's going, like, you're a detective. What, like, should I solve this crime? Because you seem inept.
Yeah. Can you go cut the body down that's been hanging from a tree for a week?
Yeah.
Like, those and kind so, of like, moments.
It adds to a different type of tale where it is like a mystery of like who you are, what happened to you, how did you get this way, and what happened to this person as well. And the characters that we meet, even just like the first lady you talk to, you know, is just like this just secondary character as of this moment, and just voice acted terrifically, and having these, you know, conversations that could very go one way or the other, and you know, always coming out of a conversation not knowing what you're going into, but coming out of it feeling fulfilled no matter what outcome you got so far. It felt great. I really like what the story that they're telling there. So far, if you're looking for a action heavy game, far this is not the game for you. Yeah. There's been no combat yet or any kind of like exciting action things. It's very story driven and picking your choices and role playing as a character. Yeah. So if you're not looking for that kind of thing, if you're not looking for, if you are looking for that shoot bang bang, this ain't it. This ain't it. If you are though, if you're love role playing and role playing games in general, this is 100% up your alley and a must play. I wonder where you left your gun, by the way.
Yeah, right?
Where did Let me talk about a game that is totally shooty, bang, bang, first and foremost, because I owe this game an apology, because when we gave our impressions of it, I was like, this game seems just so bleh, so meh.
Yeah.
So blah, and I turned out loving this game. And that's Outriders.
Shocking. From the outside, knowing what I played from the demo, being like, nah, like, the gameplay is cool, but everything else really brings it down for me. Yeah. Shocked that this is everyone's favorite game of all time, it feels like. Absolutely shocked. Good for People Can Fly. I'm happy people are digging their game. I'm just completely blown away by everyone being attracted to it like a moth to a light. You know what it is,
dude? It is... There's nothing out right now.
Yeah.
Yes, Game Pass, and but it's not even just that. Like, Steam numbers are just through the roof.
Yeah.
And so, this game is... there's a lot wrong with it. Like, voice acting is not good. The story, for me, very forgettable. The world that they're building is... not to say devoid of personality, because there's personality there, but it kind of reminds me of Disintegration as the game. Its art style is kind of similar there. Like, if you got out of the your tank in Disintegration and you were just a foot soldier, that's what it kind of feels here. It's very like Gears of War grimy meets 90s type of art style that usually wouldn't speak to me, but Kyle, the gameplay is king here. Yeah. Like, every single time I'm getting into a fight, I have these special abilities. It's kind of like Gears of War meets Destiny in terms of, like, I have these really cool abilities that my gear affects in really interesting ways. Like, I'm a Devastator, which means I'm a tank. I can have rock armor. People will shoot their bullets at me. They just deflect off me.
Put that on your resume, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a Devastator.
I'm a Devastator.
Yeah. You have like a Pyromancer that can like create tornadoes of fire, or like
that's what I played in the demo.
Yeah, that like has like mortar fire, and all of those powers are so cool, so unique. And the gear, the loot chase is so fantastic because the gear actually affects your abilities. So you can have multiple abilities. Like, for example, you can have, instead of 1 ground pound, you can have 2 or 3. They stack, right? You can have it so that, like, your armor makes you regenerate health rather than take damage. And those things affect the way you play, because you may not be into an ability like, or you think you might not be into an ability, but then you get this piece of gear that alters it in such a sort of way that you kind of test that ability out, and it makes you just feel like a complete badass. And when you're playing with your friends and all the abilities are going off in the battlefield and there's just mayhem and blood everywhere, it just feels fantastic.
Yeah.
It just feels like every instance I'm walking in, I'm like, okay, we got this. And walking out, I'm feeling like a badass. There's always that, oh shit, that looks cool moment.
So, couple things.
Yeah.
I wish they had that in the demo with the loot. Yeah. I felt like, in the demo we played, the loot was just kind of there. There wasn't the enhancement of abilities as far from like my gameplay. I didn't get any of that stuff, which is kind of a bummer.
It's very much RNG. Because like my Xbox playthrough, I didn't get any of the cool stuff, but on my PlayStation playthrough, that's how much I like this game, Kyle, playing it on 2 consoles.
Number 2, that is a thing that bummed me out and kind of pushed me away even further.
What's that?
Because you're not the first person to say this. Rihanna from G4, friend of the show, she tweeted out like, "Oh, this game is best played with other people," and that is a turnoff for me personally as like a single player person. Also, in addition to seeing that you don't scale up to other people you're playing with,
right?
So it's going to be real tough sledding for you if you hop in with somebody who's a higher level. Or world tier, or whatever their version is.
Yeah, there's world tiers. So, like, world tiers kind of works like as a Diablo way of like, you're playing the same level, but the difficulty is scaled, and the enemies are harder, which means you get better loot. There are some matchmaking issues for sure, but I have played mostly single player on my PlayStation 5. And, yeah, I've died a few times here or there, but I definitely feel like I can do it. And maybe it's because I'm a Devastator, and I'm more tanky and I could take more hits and mitigate damage real well. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I haven't had the issue that a lot of people have. So maybe that's because I've put these Gunner glasses on. Gunner, give us a promo. What are we going to do?
Shout out to you, Gunner.
You know? No, these are knockoff $20 things. Anyway, that said, like, yeah, I'm not having an issue playing solo whatsoever. But it would be awesome if we can play, Kyle. If you want to pick up the sticks, as the cool kids say, let's go for it.
I'll say, because that being said, it's one of those things where I get affected by FOMO really hard.
Yeah.
The fear of missing out if nobody knows what the FOMO means. And seeing everybody just having a great time with this game, and I'm sitting over here just counting down the days until MLB The Show and watching the Mets lose in real life. I'm itching, and I might pull that trigger. I just...
Literally.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The last game I do want to just touch on, because it was a PlayStation Plus game. Very brief impressions, but I'm an hour in to Oddworld Soulstorm. PlayStation Plus for PlayStation 5 owners. Kyle, I think this is right up your alley.
Really?
I think this is a Kyle game. So far, so good. I just made it through a few of the cutscenes, and when I was looking at it, I was like, free on PlayStation Plus? Awesome, this is great. Fine, we see it. You know, our old shtick. We're tired of seeing this game on State of Play.
Yes, yeah.
I did not know it was supposed to be $50. And I'm like, oof, that's expensive. That's a very expensive title. Maybe it's like $10 cheaper on the PS4, but even then, I'm like, oof, that's expensive for an indie game. The cinematic work that the team has done over there at Oddworlds Inc. Fantastic. The voice acting as well, top notch. Kyle, this game, the performances, I already got emotional with the second scene, and I feel like I need to make it through. Because there's Oddworld has heart that I've seen so far. And the platforming is easy enough where I don't feel like a big dumb idiot. I am using the environment to solve little puzzles while I'm being shot at with guys with machine guns. But, the platforming element is kind of like, I hate to use this analogy, but like Super Mario in terms of it's 2D side scroller, but you're actually moving around like it's a railroad track. So you're not stuck on a same scene. The scene actually moves around as you're moving in certain sections of the map, and it makes the world feel a lot more lived in, and kind of just gives it a really unique vibe that I didn't think I'd be getting with this game. I know a lot of people that love Oddworld, and he always freaked me out as a kid because of the sewn mouth thing. But honestly, Abe so far, really awesome. Like, you see that he has this responsibility, this weight that's on him that he doesn't want to have, but's been thrusted upon him, and there's just a lot of regret in those eyes. And I'm into it.
How's the puzzle kind of stuff? Have you run into any puzzles yet?
Nothing that gets me frustrated.
Okay.
I've already died plenty of times in this game, but so far I haven't gotten to the part where like I have like little followers following me like Pikmin or Lemmings. So I'm very early in, but I'm digging it.
Have you noticed, does this game take advantage of like the game help feature and the cards?
Not so much the game help feature. I haven't noticed that yet because I'm a big idiot. I don't look at that stuff. But the DualSense haptic and triggers are there in full force, and it feels great.
Sweet.
When games take advantage of the controller, it actually feels fantastic. And so give this a try. If you're a PlayStation Plus user, it's literally there for you to download. So what is there to lose?
And your weekly reminder, just add it to your library anyway if you're a PS Plus owner.
Yeah.
Should do that for every game. Just do it.
You have the phone app. You just go ahead. Do it. Just do it. That's my worst Arnold impersonation. I'm going to go back
down
somewhere. Get down. Just do it. Download the game on PlayStation Plus. Down. Kyle, listen, this has been a terrific show up until that impersonation. I'm sorry. Please don't rate us a 1 star. Please rate us 5 stars. But
you're a devastator.
I'm a devastator. I break hearts and break faces.
Put that on a shirt. Hi, I'm Joe. I'm a devastator.
Sir, this is an application for Chili's. And I just need the world to know and Chili's management to know I'm the Devastator. And you will call me as such. I'm Devastator. I'll be your waiter this evening.
It turned into Step Brothers real quick. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. Kyle, that's it. That's been the Trophy Room this week. What an episode it's been. It's been a wild ride. But yeah, Kyle, anything you want to say, you want to show off before you hit the road here?
I'll show off myself, Mr. K-Step, on Twitter and on PSN. You can find me over at 61indie.com and 61indie on all socials, including YouTube and Twitch, where we cover indie games and some exciting things that seem to be in the work. As well, while we were recording, I'm sorry, y'all. I was stumbling a lot this episode. There's some cool maybe interviews being planned out, so check out all our socials there very soon.
Awesome. And like always, you can find me over at Mr. Badbit over on Twitter. You can find the show at PS Trophy Room on Twitter as well. You can find the show on YouTube. The video version is there for you. And you can find us on any podcast source, whether that is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, now TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. If we aren't on a platform of your choice, let us know and we will fix it as soon as possible. But with all that said, and with all that out of the way, everybody, keep hunting and keep playing PlayStation. Have a nice one.
Oh, you added the have a nice one.
Oh, yeah, I did.